Welcome back to another episode, a new series this one. Berto's car is we're building a new one. Here we go, our big build for 2025. Berto's beloved green GQ is coming to the end of its life, so he's getting started on a fresh build. He's bought the cheapest, shittiest four-wheel drive he can find and is going to spend the next 6 months building it into an absolute weapon from the ground up, ready to tackle anything Australia has to throw at it. Just a bloke and his mates in the shed with the basic tools, getting it done, tackling new jobs and learning along the way. Proudly supported by Opus Campers, Ultimate 9, Superior Engineering, GME, and in part by. So before we get into the new build, let's take a quick look at what's happened to the current green GQ. You're in a bit of a predicament. So you've destroyed your motor from eating too much dust off-road due to not a great air filter setup that came with the snorkel and airbox you got.
Yeah, which we've since revised, but it's been a little bit too late. So we've upgraded that, we fixed that problem, but it's too late. It's out of the car.
Busted up TD42 on the ground here. Berto's GQ had started getting bad blow-by and burning through heaps of oil. After some investigating, he worked out due to dust, it had stuffed the rings, and he also had some issues going on with the head too. Yeah, so that's major problem one going on with your vehicle, but unfortunately, the problems don't stop there. This wagon is just basically a major mash bust now that you've been patching, and how many times do you want to keep patching? So now we got a motor out, we got a bent front diff.
Yeah, bent front diff.
All the seals are rusted to pieces down under there too.
Yeah, they're all bashed in.
Every single panel on this car has been mashed in some form or another. But the roof. So it's seen better days.
Yeah.
You don't really need a full body wagon.
Well, I only ever run 2 front seats.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
you're taking this opportunity to pretty much just say, stuff it. I'm just going to do a whole rebuild with, use some of your best parts from this car.
Yep.
Go again round 2.
Yeah.
Berto's GQ 2.0, mate. Let's go over and have a look at what you got there.
Let's have a look at what we've got, mate. You might be thinking this thing's going to be already done and pretty. Think again. We're not about that,
So we've gone from this car, which is a heap of junk, over to this thing.
That's almost a heap of junk, but it's got a lot of potential.
Envision. There's good things to come.
And I can't give away too much on this. I can't tell you what I'm going to do to it, what colour, but you're going to just have to watch and see. But it's going to be a Ute, GU diffs, and it's going to have my big spicy motor in it. I don't know if anyone knows the difference or if you even care, but if you come around here, Tyler, for a GQ, there's 2 different Utes. There is a full bubble back, so this bubble comes the whole way out, which gives you the most room in factory, or there's a half bubble, which if you're tall, you won't fit. I'm short and I've got the biggest one, so I'm gonna have heaps of room, because you're probably thinking, how are you gonna tour in that thing? Don't you worry about me, mate, we're gonna get it done. So yeah, this is a Leaf Ute cab.
The Ute was currently stuck in Sean's backyard. The first task was to move it over to my shed to begin the project. Then once we've got it there, we can tell you a little bit more about it.
So this is a 1989 TD42 Patrol. It was originally a TD, which someone played around and it's not that anymore. But it's also a wagon. I've got to convert it into a Ute. So the body's obviously original Ute, factory.
So when you say this is a wagon, that's not a wagon on it. What do you mean by that? You've taken the wagon body off and you've sat a single cab shell on it.
Yeah, I've bought single cab shell, another wagon chassis, rolling chassis, no motor, no gearbox currently, but...
So you've just sat that cab on the chassis?
Yeah, so this thing's pretty much ground up. I don't have anything, there's no interior.
Well, what's inside there?
Nothing. I've got an Oki strap holding the doors because the doors aren't latched.
No, not much. Well, come around here, pop the bonnet, what's in there?
Pop the bonnet, what do we got? Nothing. So we have absolutely nothing in here.
Just
and you're thinking, what are we doing?
This is a big task you got on your hands.
Yeah, so this is going to be a full chassis fresh, diff fresh, engine fresh, gearbox fresh.
This is going to be sort of, you know, without building a chassis from scratch, this is going to be about as extreme as you can get from like a, you know, a ground up build of a pre-existing car
like,
of some description. What's your overall plan with this? Like, is this going to be a, you know, 33s Tourer, extreme bush basher?
What everyone says, what is it, 2-inch 31s? Is that what everyone says? No, this is going to be an extreme Tourer / hard wheeler. It's going to be hard to sort of do both, but with a coil cab, I'll make it so I have a back set up, but it also comes off so I can go full sports ute mode.
I suppose we better stop talking.
And do some work. I'm not going to get it. But what, the best bit about this is you're going away.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to film and do the work myself. So if it's a bit sketchy, mate, it's, just deal with it,
You've
alright?
been left in charge with the camera.
And I'll do the best I could. Alright, that's all we can ask for. First part of the job I'm going to do is cut off all the original body mounts, and I might even cut off some of the suspension mounts and get it all prepped up for the falling to go in at the same time. And by cutting off all the body mounts, I mean all of these that go along front and back. I think there's 4 of them that I have to cut off. So that's where the original wagon body mounted to. So we don't need that anymore. They're going to be in the way. I'm going to cut them all off the chassis. So the best way to cut these off is you get the grinder with a cutting wheel. You cut right next to the weld. You get most of the way through. And then you get a chisel and a hammer and you break it free, because that way you don't cut into the parent metal, the chassis, because we don't want to be making that weak. I think we're at the stage where I need to put the car up on jack stands or hold it up with the engine crane, because I'm going to cut out some of the suspension arms and the brackets, so there's going to be nothing to hold the back of the ute up. So I really need to get it stable and secure so I can work on it safely. So I'm going to start with that. So I've got to use the engine crane now because I can't jack it up this high, and where I need to put the jack stands is probably right where the only place I can jack it. So I figured I'll get a strap, I'll strap the chassis, I'll lift it up, jack stands under it, lower it back down, and then I'll be able to continue cutting out all the suspension safely. Boom, 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 chickadee dee, chickadee dough, brother. Yeah, sounds on, see that? Testing 1, 2. There's no real right way to do this. Just down through the chassis, hook that in. Got a little strap malfunction going on. I should have used a good strap. I just picked up the cheap strap, so I didn't want to break it. Doesn't like that sharp bit of the chassis, mate. So what are we going to do here? Gonna have to get another strap. This one's Tyler. I owe you one strap, buddy. So Tyler's obviously packed his car, taking most of the straps. What have I found? This little pull strap. See if it gets the job done. I'm obviously not going to get under the car with this strap, but I'll be able to put it on jack stands.
The chassis was successfully on the jack stands. Now here's Berto explaining the next bit, but forgot to do the old 1-2 sound check. Mics aren't on, so no idea what he's saying, but something about more cutting, more grinding to remove all the old mounts he won't be using anymore. He's ready to hook in.
Got the wheelbarrow out. That wasn't the easiest thing to do by yourself. Boom, boom. So, we've got it all out now. I've still got to cut this off. I've got to cut these off.
Day 3 on the tools, mate.
Is it sound working? Bippity bop, chicken dinner.
I hope so.
Is it going up on the screen?
Yeah, it is, mate. It's working.
So what, we're back again, day 3. Who have I got here behind the camera?
You got Alex 80 series,
Got
mate.
Alex 80
from
series.
TikTok.
From TikTok, that's the guy. Look him up.
what are we doing today,
So I'm
Berto?
going to cut this panhard mount off, and then I'm going to cut the other lower control arm mount off. You point at me or at the car?
Bit of both.
So we're going to start with that, and then Alex is going to get on the wire wheel for like 6 hours of free labour.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alright,
I don't know where I signed that part.
Let's get
but
into
yeah.
it. Look at that nice Darche alien speaker, mate.
Oh, look at
Maybe
that.
we should have that.
Look at this, mate. Brand new off the shelf. Damn. Look at you, mate.
Stadium day.
That's how you do your makeup in the morning, eh?
Yeah, literally. Plasma.
Plasma. Put it on Tyler's account, mate.
Straight on there.
While he's gone, just order one. Half an hour later, we're back to part 310 of Berto grinding off the seam bracket. We got one piece off, mate.
6 hours later.
45 minutes later.
Literally.
We got one piece off, mate. Actually looks good in there. Not too much rust, which is good. A little bit of surface dirt, mate. Sheesh. What's the attack plan to get this mount off?
I got this
Ugga
the turkey carver. Carved this turkey, you know what I mean? I don't actually know what I'm doing, but we're figuring it out. Look at that grinder, would you champ? Pass her over, bud.
That'll be $50 labour.
Listen to this bloke, mate.
Spit on it. There you go. 1 hour later, we have one bracket.
It's literally been an hour.
Look at that, mate. You proud of that?
1 pound gone. That was the worst thing I've ever cut off in my life. You wouldn't.
All right, here's Alex, 101 a day, freaking 437 of unemployed slave labour.
Worst mechanic I've ever met.
Anyway, I'm going to be pulling apart the front of Berto's GQ to help him while he chops off the one bracket that he's been doing for the last hour and a half.
I don't know if he's helping me.
So yeah. Shut up over there, mate. Oh. We are taking apart Berto's car. SP Tools, mate. The one for me.
Look at that. That's how you get shit done around here. You don't gotta strip it undoing it, mate. See the snorkel hole? Me neither. One bare metal GQ door.
Today we're going to be doing all the Berto's work for him and doing all the dirty work, which is grinding back every single one of these original welds where the older brackets have been mounted to. So that would have been your lower control arm and panhard and whatever else we've had to chop off for the 4-link, mate.
So we're back, day 5 in the shed. You might be thinking, where's the cab gone? So I had a couple of mates come around and we just manually lifted it off. We don't have a forklift here, or, you know, we've got the engine crane up here for safety, but I wasn't gonna lift the cab off with that. Anyway, we all lifted it off. I had to set the camera up. I had it ready to go. It didn't record, so excuse that. I think Tyler's gonna kill me, but there's not much I can do about it. It weighs enough that 4 people didn't want to lift it back on just to get the shot again. So it is what it is, but we're going to start the day. I've just been grinding. I've got some more cutting to do. I've got to cut this crossmember out. So this is normally the one that you notch anyway to have your tail shaft clear it when you have big flex. But with this 4-link kit, it comes out. The plates go in this section and that section, and it actually replaces that whole thing. So we won't have to notch the crossmember out, and we'll have high clearance, so it'll be beautiful. I'm going to hook on in, get that cut out, and then we're going to hopefully move on to some welding. I've had like 4 days of straight cutting and grinding and I'm getting sick of it. I've got to cut this off right here as close to that as I can. As you can see, that is welded straight to the chassis, and it actually goes straight through the chassis, but this side stays, the outside stays. We only cut the inside off, we fully remove that, and then I'll show you. See, this is where the radius arm was, where the weld originally was. I haven't gone down too low because I don't want to remove too much of that parent material of the actual chassis. And this all gets braced with the tray mount kit. So once I've got all that done, I'll give you some nice looks at the whole thing. You know, I've got the panhard removed, I've got the whole lot removed. So now I've got to grind all that flat. That's going to be fun. That's going to be very fun. It's all right, but we'll get it done. We'll walk in and get it done. So, as you can see, with this kit, with the Crossmember, I've cut them out, and this is not welded on the inside. I had a plate over it that was welded. So I'm going to have to weld around this and then grind it flat so that the full length plate can get welded to this part of the chassis. As you can see, I've got the majority of all the grinding, cutting and whatever else done, so I think I'm going to move on to finally, it's going to make it look like it's made some progress, the tray mounts and some chassis bracing. So, as you can see, I've got this tray mount kit, so this is a wagon to ute conversion from PSR. It's probably the easiest way other than making custom mounts yourself, but we don't have the laser cutout or a folder, so this just makes everything nice and easy. They give you full measurements of where the factory ones are, which isn't too important for us anyway, since, you know, we're not really going to have a factory tray. So I'm going to rip in, get some of this stuff put up there, tacked on. First step, we're going to clamp that, get a rough idea where it is, mark it, prep the surface under it. You know, I've got weld through primer, plus I've got to strip all the old paint off so we get a good clean surface, good welds, but then also so it doesn't rust from the inside. So next step, since I've got that prepped up, as you've seen before, I've got weld through primer. Use this on anything that where like behind that plate isn't going to be able to get painted. Use this stuff, otherwise you're going to go all this hard work and it's going to rust out from behind you. Mate, the old Tomo stitch up, mate, the lid's no good. Hold your horses. While I let that dry, I'll probably go around and grind this next sectional. Now that I've got the other side all ground back and weld through primed, I'm going to do the same for this side. I already know it's roughly got to be from here the whole way back. So instead of marking it this time, I'm just going to, you know, give myself a bit of a buffer a bit further forward. I'll go a bit further back and I'll clean this whole side up. Now that we've got both sides prepped, I'm going to clamp on the very front one. I'm going to put 2 little tacks on it to hold it there, go to the next one, and then I'm going to make sure they're all in the right spot. And then once everything's fully tacked on, I'll finish weld it. So before I do that, these probably come coated in some sort of anti-rust stuff. That's brake cleaner. We want to give them a good clean up to get any contaminates off them. You do also want to, the underside that's going to be against the chassis, you also want to weld through prime that so that it's sealed and it won't rust.
Don't care. I can't take the smell, can't take the noise, got no money to move out, I guess I got no choice. Rats in the front, roaches in the back, junkies in the alley with the baseball bat.
As you can see, I've got this side in place and tacked on, both of these. There's only a gap here because there used to be a panard mount here and the kit doesn't, you know, it's not made for a full length. So normally you'd think you'd be bracing right up to that, but we're not. But that's all right. So now I'm going to move to the other side, get it in the same spot, and then it's got a few marks, and I'm pretty sure they're for mounting up tray mounts. It's crazy how much grind and dust and cleaning. Like I've swept this like, I don't know, 6-7 times a day the last few days. Trying to get it all half clean and not rolling around in dirt, but as you can see, mate, I'm filthy. With this, you want to take your time trying to line it all up. So we need to get this centered so it's not high on a weld. You just want to put a couple of tacks on. Worst case, you can cut them off. You want to move along, get it as flush to the chassis as you can. Next step of this job, I have to finish welding these out by stitch welding them. Well, I'm not exactly sure what way the engineer's going to want them welded. I did try and call him, he's unavailable, but I've spoken to a fair few other people that build cars and work with engineers, and they say every engineer is different, but I feel like if I do a 3-inch stitch and leave a 2-inch gap, leave a 3-inch stitch, that is a pretty common way that they all approve of it. So I'm just going to do that. I've got the big ruler. I'm going to mark out some stuff. I'm going to get welding. So as you can see, marked out every 3 inches, 2 inches, 3 inches, 2 inches. So I'm going to start by welding some of them. I'm going to go around, not weld it all in one section. I don't want it all getting crazy too hot or anything, so I'm just going to weld a stitch here, weld a stitch there, keep going around until I'm done. Probably do a time lapse on that because it's going to take a while.
My son said, Daddy, I don't want to go to school because the teacher's a jerk. He must think I'm a fool. And all the kids smoke reefer. I think it'd be cheaper if I just got a job, learn to be a street sweeper. I dance to the beat, shuffle my feet, wear a shirt and tie, and run with the creeps because it's all about...
Now that it's fully welded out, I'm going to wire wheel all this to get all the contaminations off from all the burn marks. And then I will weld on the actual tray mounts themselves. As you can tell, I've got a different outfit on. I got sick of welding in short sleeve, short pants. I was getting burnt, so it's probably always better to have the appropriate welding gear on. But next up, we've got the actual tray mounts. So this is the whole kit from PSR. As long as you get everything in a pretty similar spot, which is a bit hard because I've changed this. I've just measured, and this one is slightly further back than that one. So I'm just going to tack this where I can in a good spot, and then I'll measure the distance from back of the chassis to the edge of this mount, and then I'll match the other one for that distance. 1152 mil. If I take that measurement to the other side, it'll be good. I've just marked that. Then I'm going to go back and double, triple check, because you know, we measure once, measure twice, cut once. Triple, double check. Before I get too carried away putting mounts on, I'm just going to get some etch primer, which is your bare metal primer, and I'm just going to hit it, because if some of these tray mounts go over the middle of this, I might not be able to paint them properly. So I might as well just give it a very light coat, and then that'll save that problem.
Dropping out of high school, now you're unemployed, all non-void, walking around like your pretty boy Floyd. Turn stick-up kids, but look what you done did. Got sent up for
So this one sort of sits on a bit of a funny angle. I think I'm going to grind out a little bit out of this little corner just here, where the fold may have distorted it to make it sit more level.
you was found hung dead in the cell. It was plain to see that your life
The back two mocked up. So now I'm moving on to the front mounts.
With all the mounts tacked in place, Berto could fully weld them out.
close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep them going.
Alright, so now that they're all fully welded out, I'm going to have to hit them with some black paint, some etch primer. It's bare metal. I don't want them going rusty before I fully clean up and paint the whole chassis. I've just sent some pictures to a couple of the boys, and they said you probably should have left some gaps around so it has room to move and twist, but I haven't done that now, so it's too late to undo it. It'll be right, it's on there pretty strong. Hopefully it just doesn't crack. So yeah, this is the Super Etch. It's industrial etch primer. It's for bare metal. Last part of this tray build, I've welded, left gaps. I've got a seam sealer. This is a sort of dries really hard, elastic sort of seam sealer. I'm gonna put that in all the gaps, wipe it with my finger so it sort of pushes down and seals it, and then I've got to paint over the top of it, and then that'll be fully sealed. There shouldn't get any water in there. So as you can see, I've gone around, I've seam sealed all the holes, and now I can put a lick of paint over that, and that should be sealed, and I can move on to the next job. While we're bracing, I've also just had some parts rock up from my favourite shop, Superior Engineering. I thought it was a weld-on one, but it's not. I've just got the bolt-on one. Just as good. It's probably easier, to be honest. I don't have to worry about welding it. All it is a couple of bolts, this tower, and then there is a foam piece that goes over where all the lines go. I'll put that on later since I've got all my lines off. I'm probably going to get them remade. The amount of four drives I've built, I've never actually put one of these on, so... Should just be as simple as putting some of these bolts and nuts in, doing them up. Magnetic tray, just so I don't lose anything. You get all the fasteners that come with it. You always put them up from the bottom so that the head of the Allen key is in where the coil tower goes, because if you go the other way around, your coil will get stuck on the bolt heads and it'll stuff all the bolt heads in. It'll probably bang and clang, and we don't want that, so. Now that the coil tower brace is on, I'm going to prep this area by getting rid of all this old paint from here all the way to here, and then I'll get ready to install some falling. Now that I've got that fully ground, I'll give that a brake clean, and then I'll spray through prime that, and then I'll do the same for the other side. Look at that, not just a chain mount, we've got a handy brake cleaner holder.
Okay, now I am going to finish it up there as Bodo is about to get started on the forelink, which is a big job and way too much footage to cram into this episode. So drop a comment below on your thoughts on the build, and make sure to subscribe and tune in next Sunday as he starts piecing together the forelink from Kinsella Customs.